Hey guys, I'm sick.
We all have best friends. That's not the intro. Best Friends Today is a comedy trio that was run by Rooster Teeth. And immediately there is a cloud of despair over the video. It consisted of Caroline Consnar, the girl who did the prom song, and other things as well. Will Wahoney, the guy who did the Manny Flag and Interdimensional Reels. And Sammy, the guy who talks about raisins or musicals or some shit. Who cares, man? It's hard to describe exactly what they did, because what am I supposed to say about blindfolded game show challenge expert mode 1080p full HD? I think it speaks for itself. Anyways, they made content for some time until, and then they tried to come back, but it just wasn't the same. And then after 4 months, gone. Nothing good lasts anymore.
I don't want to be around anymore.
I just want to talk about the channel because it's so good and also fully a Greek tragedy. And I've been there since the beginning. I was there when they didn't even have a YouTube channel. So I guess, without further ado, you see, it's difficult to actually talk about the beginning of Best Friends Today because a good few of their earlier videos are just gone. So I'll just talk about what I watched. It's funny that even at the very beginning, it already seemed like they'd run out of ideas and were just throwing whatever they could at the wall. One of their videos is literally just them buying $50 of items from the dollar store and then just monkeying around for 7 minutes. It's their second video. You know, a lot of their older videos was just them dicking around. No rhyme or reason to anything. Was it still funny? Yes. Okay, let me attempt to explain what Best Friends Today is. So obviously it's the comedic trio of William, Caroline, and Daniel, and they had these 3 separate shows, one of which they didn't even start until they'd already made like 10 videos. There's Best Friend Simulator, which is just them doing challenges or literally anything, and then they try to make it funny, because that's their job. There's Hypothetical Nonsense, the podcast they were forced to start that we'll get to. And the third show that will also come up later. I wouldn't really call their first videos good. Like, get this, one of their videos is called The Sims 4 SpongeBob Challenge. Do I even need to say anything, or does Sims 4 SpongeBob Funny Challenge speak for itself? I remember them doing a good few street interviews. I don't know exactly how many they did because they unlisted a bunch of videos. I'm not a big fan of these videos, and it just didn't feel like that's what BFT was. Like, I don't want to see street interview comedy. I want to see Will spill his water bottle on himself. What? Oh, I should probably talk about each of the best friends and the sort of comedy dynamic they bring. Best friend Sammy is just very sharp. He's very witty and punchy. And very versatile with his comedy. He's a chameleon. Will is more of a loopy bonehead archetype on the show, but he's still very, very funny. Lots of his jokes revolve around him being insecure about something in some way. And Caroline will either be the straight man of the bit or just say something that is so outlandishly out of pocket.
Business as usual. Monkey business as usual. But in my mind, I had a wonderful point.
And their dynamics flow really well together. I don't know anything about the technical aspects of comedy, so if you think that was all bullshit and wrong, you're probably right.
I don't know what any of this shit is, and I'm fucking scared.
I'd say their first good video is Secret Celebrity Food Meals, where they'd make this gross-ass concoction, and then say, actually, Zendaya said she liked this on a podcast, and then they cut to a clip that is fully just Sammy's voice.
I've completely fallen in love with British food. Yeah. Like, it gets a bad rap, but Plunkett and mash, bingo sauce.
And from there, they just started to come into their own. Everyone forgot about the time they tried to make a sketch about Gen Z entering the workforce. Except for me. I remember. I'll always remember. Why do the best friends have to fight? What the hell? That's not nice. Why can't we all just be nice to each other? I think the moment that they officially started to enter their golden era was
Welcome to Best Friends TV.
Best Friends TV is easily the best part of Best Friends Today. Essentially, it's a satire interview show with absurdist undertones. It's Eric Andre. It's fucking Eric Andre. But it's just so much more internet. It also highlights what I think is another really funny aspect of this channel. Why do these kids have a fucking studio? Like, 3 untrained kids interviewing Danny Brown with a full studio and crew is just funny to me. I'm sorry, it just is. And this is where we started to get just really solid videos. Gingerbread Houses, Wonka Menu, BFTV Surprise Guest, Hive Mind, The Hinge Day That Ruined My Life, We Lost Everything. The heist. Okay, let me explain here. So in one of her videos, they buy $2,000 worth of lottery tickets because we all know the popular saying, you can only lose 100% of your money while gambling, but you can win over 10,000%. So there's this bit where they go broke because they bought a bunch of fancy items in advance of their guaranteed win. And then there's this whole episode where they're trying to make money from stocks, organ selling, GoFundMe, stuff like that. And then a Nigerian prince saves the day by giving them $1 million. Man, that's pretty silly. You know, the more I think about it, the more I truly believe that A to Z Food Challenge is the best video that they made by far. I already talked about the video, but one great thing about this video is that they made a joke about Rap Snack 16 days before Chuckle Sandwich did. So we can quantifiably say that Best Friends Today is better than Chuckle Sandwich. But while we got all this good stuff going on, let's check in on hypothetical nonsense.
Like it's like Hermerculix. Hermetulix.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
okay.
No.
Okay, no, so it's Hermachalash.
It's not good, at least for the majority of its lifetime. But I will give them some credit here because they didn't want to make the podcast, at least according to them. But when they were brought on to Rooster Teeth, they were told that they had to make a podcast because that's apparently Rooster Teeth's whole thing. So 70% of all podcast episodes are just not good. But credit where credit is due, 19 episodes in, it starts to become somewhat enjoyable. My personal favorite is the cereal tier list with Zedante. You know, speaking of their guests, there seems to be sort of a machine at work with their guests, starting with Jonas. They'd have them on BFTV, then on Best Friend Simulator and Hypothetical Nonsense. The machine changed after Dev Lemons to just being BFTV and Hypothetical Nonsense, but we don't need to talk about that. Speaking of the main channel, let's see how it's doing. Oh no. Rooster Teeth was shutting down, and Best Friends Today had 60 days before they lost access to the studio. And in those 60 days, they've made some of the best content they've ever made. BFTV Sleepover, The Meeting, BFT Keynote, Fast Food versus Frozen Food. Like, there was some quality stuff here, but then the 60 days were over. Rooster Teeth died. This sucks. I don't know the background of what made Rooster Teeth die. Some of these comments from when they were about to die are a little strange and make me want to not look at it closer. But Best Friends Today was growing. They were finally getting some traction. I firmly believe that if they were given another year, they would be getting real good views. But Rooster Teeth died. But that's not the end of the story because they rebooted. But before we talk about that, we need to talk about Caroline. So in the background of BFT, Caroline posted a video that was weird. It was announcing that she was gonna be a mother, and my first instinct was that this was a joke, but then the description wasn't funny or disclosing that it was a joke. And she did drop some hints in Best Friends Today videos.
I have been a little nervous recently. This is not, I'm not kidding right now.
That you're pregnant?
Yes.
You missed your period?
Yeah.
Wait, was this real? No, it wasn't. 2 weeks later, she posted a video titled, I Lost the Baby, Jesus Christ. Basically saying that her initial video was an experiment on parasocialism and also she was starting up a Patreon.
Disgusting.
And people were not happy, rightfully so. I think the funniest thing to come out of this whole thing is that the whole video is about, oh, we're so parasocial and we attach ourselves to people we don't even know. But then she pinned the comment under the video that was basically saying, you guys clearly don't know Caroline. This is just her type of humor. These fucking jokes write themselves. This created a big tizzy on the internet and Caroline apologized. On her Patreon. A Patreon with a minimum pledge of $10 a month. I don't give a fuck how good your apology is. If you're making me pay $10 for you to apologize about something shitty you did, you're the bad guy. Caroline's the bad guy? Now you might have noticed there was a lack of accompanying footage at some parts of this. And that's because she deleted everything. The I Lost the Baby video, her whole Patreon is gone. The only remnant that remains is the original pregnancy video, cause, come on, it's too funny not to delete. I'm just saying shit from what I remember, and that's the best source I can use right now, I'm sorry. Personally, I think the whole situation is pretty shitty. Like, maybe instead of faking your pregnancy to launch your Patreon, you could just make a video being like, hey guys, I'm making a Patreon just so you know, this is what it's like, okay, bye. Like, I don't think she needed to do all that. Also, $10 a month. fuck off! Anyways, it's all but confirmed that this whole situation caused Caroline to leave BFT, and if it wasn't what caused her to leave, she certainly can't come back now. But hey, Caroline wasn't that integral to the dynamic of BFT. Maybe things will be okay, or even better. And I'll tell you, things definitely got much, much worse. I wanted to like post Rooster Teeth BFT, I really did, but there's just something missing, and I hate to say it, it is Caroline. I think there are two main aspects that lead to this era being just overall worse, and neither of them are not having a studio. The first one is the dynamic has just completely changed. Like, what Caroline did was shitty, but that doesn't mean she wasn't 1/3 of BFT. Like, her growing relationship with Will was one of the best things about the channel. Like, they were the ones who did all those friendship tests. And Will and Sammy is a good dynamic, but it's just not great. And the second problem is that these videos are longer than they need to be. I'm not going to say they're too long because they're not that much longer, but you know, there's definitely some fat that's not being cut here. And I do think this connects to Caroline at least a little bit because she was the only YouTuber of the bunch. Like, Will does have a YouTube channel, but his main following is on TikTok. And maybe if Caroline was there, they could make their videos a reasonable length. I will say 25 minutes isn't a super long time, but when your average BFT Rooster Teeth episode is 13 minutes and 49 seconds, then maybe they don't need to be 25 minutes long. And the worst part is, I honestly would have preferred that all of their videos were bad so I could let them go more easily. And they definitely released some mid in this time, but honestly, there are some good videos. They made a few good videos in this time, but the consistency is just gone. And on October 28th, 2024, Will announced on their Patreon, oh yeah, they had a Patreon, it's not important, that they were finished with Best Friends Today. It was over. And then at some point they said they'd archive the Patreon for free, but then it got deleted, and also a bunch of videos got unlisted. This just makes me feel sad, man. I believed in Best Friends Today. If Rooster Teeth was able to keep itself alive for like another year, they could have 300,000 subscribers, easily. The project would be thriving. And maybe Rooster Teeth dying isn't what killed BFT. Maybe Caroline leaving wasn't what killed BFT. But both of them happening one after another, they didn't stand a chance.
Hey Dad, I just really want you to put Sammy ahead. What's the plan? Make a lot of good videos. He still wants that taller sleeve.
Whoa, this video got heavy completely out of nowhere. Editor God, can we put in a funny video clip right here?
Hey kid, do you want a wiener in your mouth?
Best Friends Today wasn't brilliant. It wasn't lightning in a bottle. It was just three short-form comedians who were given a studio and made what I believe is one of the best internet shows of all time, with a bunch of great inside jokes. The main thing I'm sad about is all the deleted Patreon content and unlisted videos. Like, the idea that BFT is lost media makes me feel genuinely sad. And the way it died too, just trying to continue on for 4 months but eventually just fizzling out. Not even a proper send-off. And unfortunately, that does mean Chuckle Sandwich gains a point because they died on their own terms. Now the final competition is which one of these shows is better at being dead. Best Friends Today could have survived as independents. I solely believe that. I think that they had a great dynamic, and I think they could make like a bunch of Roblox videos. But then Caroline decided to go fucking insane, and then everything changed! I think it's worthy to know, the only person I really knew going into this was Wahoney, and I guess this is the second project of his I've watched him do from start to finish, except this one died way, way worse. I'm glad Will and Sammy are doing good for themselves. I'm glad Sammy has the kids' table and Will has his own Reels account. I'll always have BFT love in my heart, and maybe a few years from now they'll get back together and get 17 million subscribers and become super popular, but for now I only have one more thing to say.
Yabba dabba doo!
How did we get here? Nobody knows, but we got together and put on a show. It's called Best Friends Today. We'll see you tomorrow. We're here to stay, so be sure to follow.
Welcome back to the Gug outro corner. I was actually gonna do this one in the real outro corner, but then it snowed like 1 foot in 2 days, and I don't want to deal with that. I don't have much to talk about the video per se. I think I did fine. But I do have a few, I think, necessary things that I forgot to mention in the video. The first is I did contact every member of BFT for an interview. They all left me undelivered, which honestly, they're allowed to do. I am very, very small potatoes when it comes to YouTube commentary. If there is a member of BFT watching this video, republicize all the unlisted videos. I don't know why you unlisted them. I think you unlisted them because you don't see those unlisted videos as very good, but unlisting them is just changing your history, and that's pretty lame. The second thing is, I didn't really explain what The Kids Table is. It's basically a podcast that Sammy started with Jonas, who I had as a guest, and Kat, their producer at Rooster Teeth. And it's honestly pretty fun. I watched an episode of it, and it's not as good as BFT because they all seem to be very similar to each other comedy-wise. Like, Sammy's great and Jonas is great, but their comedic stylings are very similar to each other. And Kat, I only watched one episode and she doesn't seem to make jokes. That doesn't seem to be her thing. And also, it's just basically a podcast rather than being, you know, a fun best friend simulator that's cool and edited. It's just a conversation. But it is fun. Do check it out if you are one of the few fans of BFT that are watching this video. Like and subscribe, follow my Instagram, I haven't been shouting that out, and look forward to the 15th because I'm gonna have a good video for you guys, okay? Yeah.